Hello, everybody, and welcome to this reading of the Elder Scrolls. I am Double Negative, and get ready. This is the 36 Lessons of Vivec. Sermon 1. He was born in the ash among the Velothi, anon Chimer, before the war with the northern men. Iam came first to the village of the Nechimen, and her shadow was that of Boethia, who was the prince of plots, and things unknown and known would fold themselves around her until they were like stars, or the messages of stars. Iam took a Nechimen's wife and said, I am the face-snaked queen of the 3-in-1. In you is an image and a 7-syllable spell. I am a Seti a Vec, which you will repeat to it until mystery comes. Then Iam threw the Nechimen's wife into the ocean water, where drays took her into castles of glass and coral. They lifted the Nechimen's wife with gills and milk fingers, changing her sex so that she might give birth to the image as an egg. There she stayed for 7 or 8 months. Then Set came to the Nechimen's wife and said, I am the clockwork king of the 3-in-1. In you is an egg of my brother-sister, who possesses invisible knowledge of words with swords, which you shall nurture until the Hortator comes. And Set then extended his hands, and multitudes of homunculi came forth, each like a glimmering rope through the water, and they raised the Nechimen's wife back to the surface world and set her down on the shoals of Azura's coast. There she lay for 7 or 8 more months, caring for the egg knowledge by whispering to it the codes of Mephala and the prophecies of Veloth, and even the forbidden teachings of Trinimac. 7 Daedra came to her one night, and each one gave to the egg new motions that could be achieved by certain movements of the bones. These are called the Barons of Move Like This. And an 8th Daedroth came, and he was a demi-prince called Fanuit Hen, or the multiplier of motions known. And Fanuit Hen said, Whom do you wait for? To which the Nechimen's wife said, The Hortator. Go to the land of the Indoril in 3 months' time, for that is when war comes. I return now to haunt the warriors who fell and still wonder why. But first I show you this. Then the barons and the demi-prince joined together into a pillar of fighting styles terrible to behold, and they danced before the egg and its learning image. Look, little Vec, and find the face behind the splendor of my bladed carriage, for in it is delivered the unmixed conflict path, perfect in every way. What is its number? It is said the number is the number of birds that can nest in an ancient tribble tree, less 3 grams of honest work. But Vivec in his later years found a better one, and so gave this secret to his people. For I have crushed a world with my left hand, he will say, but in my right hand is how it could have won against me. Love is under my will only. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 2. The Nechimen's wife who carried the egg of Vivec within her went looking for the lands of the Indoril. Along the journey many spirits came to see her and offer instructions to her son-daughter, the future glorious invisible warrior poet of Vardenfell, Vivec. The first spirit threw his arms around her and hugged his knowledge in tight. The Nechimen's wife became soaked in the incalculable effort. The egg was delighted and did somersaults inside her, bowing to the 5 corners of the world and saying, Thus whoever performs this holy act shall be proud and mighty among the rest. The second spirit was too aloof and acted above his station so much that he was driven off by a headache spell. The third spirit, Hortator, came down to the Nechimen's wife while she relaxed for a while under an emperor parasol. His garments were made from implications of meaning, and the egg looked at them 3 times. The first time, Vivec said, "Ha, it means nothing." After looking a second time, he said, there might be something there after all. Finally, giving Hortator's garments a sidelong glance, he said, "Amazing. The ability to infer significance in something devoid of detail." "There is a proverb," Hortator said, and then he left. The fourth spirit came with the fifth, for they were cousins. They could ghost touch and probed inside the egg to find its core. Some say Vivec at this point was shaped like a star with its penumbra broken off. Others that it looked like a revival of vanished forms. "From my side of the family," the first cousin said, "I bring you a series of calamities that will bring about the end of the universe." "And from my side," the second cousin said, "I bring you all the primordial marriages that must happen within them, each one." At this the egg laughed. "I am given too much to bear so young. I must have been born before." And then the sixth spirit appeared, the Black Hands Mephala, who taught the Velothi at the beginning of days all the arts of sex and murder. Its burning heart melted the eyes of the Nechimen's wife and took the egg from her belly with 6 cutting strokes. The egg image, however, could see into what it had been before in ancient times, when the earth still cooled and was not blinded. It joined with the Daedroth and took its former secrets, leaving a few behind to keep the web of the world from disentangling. Then the Black Hands Mephala put the egg back into the Nechimen's wife and blew on her with magic breath until the hole closed up. But the Daedroth did not give her back her eyes, saying, "God hath 3 keys, of birth, of machines, and of the words between." Within this sermon, the wise may find 1/2 of these keys. The ending of the words is Almsevi. Sermon 3. Being blind, the Nechimen's wife wandered into a cave on her way to the domains of House Indoril. It so happened that this cave was a Dwemer stronghold. The Dwemer spied the egg and captured the Nechimen's wife. They bound her head to foot and brought her deep within the earth. She heard one say, "Go and make a simulacrum of her and place it back on the surface, for she has something akin to what we have, and so the Velothi will covet it and notice if she is too long away." In the darkness, the Nechimen's wife felt great knives try to cut her open. When the knives did not work, the Dwemer used solid sounds. When those did not work, great heat was brought to bear. Nothing was of any use, and the egg of Vivec remained safe within her. A Dwemer said, "Nothing is of any use. We must go and misinterpret this." Vivec felt that his mother was afraid, and so consoled her. "The fire is mine, let it consume thee, and make a secret door at the altar of Padhome, in the house of Boet-Hi-Ah, where we become safe and looked after." This old prayer made the Nechimen's wife smile and begin such a deep sleep that when Dwemeri Atronachs returned with cornered spheres and cut her apart, she did not awake and died peacefully. Vivec was removed from her womb and placed within a magical glass for further study. To confound his captors, he channeled his essence into love, an emotion the Dwemer knew nothing about. The egg said, "Love is used not only as a constituent in moods and affairs, but also as the raw material from which relationships produce hour-later exasperations, regrettably fashioned restrictions, riddles laced with affections known only to the loving couple, and looks that linger too long. Love is also an often used ingredient in some transparent verbal and non-verbal transactions where, eventually, it can sometimes be converted to a variety of true devotions, some of which yield tough, insoluble, and infusible unions. In its basic form, love supplies approximately 13 draughts of all energy that is derived from relationships. Its role and value in society at large are controversial. The Dwemer were vexed at these words and tried to hide behind their power symbols. They sent their atronachs to remove the egg image from their cave and place it within the simulacrum they had made of Vivec's mother. A Dwemer said, "We Dwemer are only aspirants to this that the Velothi have. They shall be our doom in this, and the 8 known worlds, Nirn, Lacan, Raket, Thender, Kinnert, Akat, Mahara, and Junal. The secret to doom is within this sermon." The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 4. The simulacrum of the Nechiman's wife who carried the egg of Vivec within it went back to looking for the lands of the Indoril. Along the journey, many more spirits came to see it and offer instructions to its son-daughter, the future glorious invisible warrior poet of Vardenfell, Vivec. A troop of spirits called the Lobbyists for the Coincidence Guild appeared. Vivec understood the challenge immediately and said, "The popular notion of God kills happenstance." The head of the lobbyists, whose name is forgotten, tried to defend the concept's existence. He said, "Saying something at the same time can be magical." Vivec knew that to retain his divinity that he must make a strong argument against luck. He said, "Is not the sudden revelation of corresponding conditions and disparate elements that gel at the moment of the coincidence one of the prerequisites to being, in fact, coincidental? Synchronicity comes out of repeated coincidences at the lowest level. Further examination shows it is the utter power of the sheer number of coincidences that leads one to the idea that synchronicity is guided by something more than chance. Therefore, synchronicity ends up invalidating the concept of the coincidental, even though they are the symptomatic signs that bring it to the surface. Thus was coincidence destroyed in the land of the Velothi. Then an old bone of the earth rose up before the simulacrum of the Nechiman's wife and said, "If you are to be born a ruling king of the world, you must confuse it with new words. Set me into pondering." "Very well," Vivec said. "Let me talk to you of the world, which I share with mystery and love. Who is her capital? Have you taken the scenic route of her cameo? I have, lightly, in secret, missing candles because they're on the untrue side, and run my hand along the edge of a shadow made from 103 divisions of warmth, and left no proof." At this the old bone folded unto itself 20 times, until it became akin to milk, which Vivec drank, becoming a ruling king of the world. Finally, the Chancellor of Exactitude appeared, and he was perfect to look upon from every angle. Vivec understood the challenge immediately and said, "Certitude is for the puzzle box logicians and girls of white glamour who harbor it on their own time. I am a letter written in uncertainty." The Chancellor bowed his head and smiled 50 different and perfect ways all at once. He pulled the astrolabe of the universe from his robe and broke it in half, handing both halves to the egg image of Vivec. Vivec laughed and said, "Yes, I know. The slave labor of the senses is as selfish as polar ice, and worsens when energies are spent on a life others regard as fortunate. To be a ruling king, I will have to suffer much that cannot be suffered, and to weigh matters that no astrolabe or compass can measure." The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 5. Finally, the simulacrum of the Nechiman's wife became unstable. The Dwemer in their haste had built it shoddily, and the ashes of Red Mountain slowed its golden tendons. Before long, it fell on its knees beside the road to the lands of the Indoril and pitched over, to be discovered 80 days later by a merchant caravan on its way to the capital of Veloth, anon Almalexia. Vivec had not been among his people all the days of his pre-life, so he stayed silent and let the chimer in the caravan think that the simulacrum was broken and empty. A chimeric warrior who was protecting the caravan said, "Look here how the Dwemer try to fool us as ever, crafting our likenesses out of their flesh metals. We should take this to the capital and show our mother Iam. She will want to see this new strategy of our enemies." But the merchant captain said, "I doubt that we shall be paid well for the effort. We can make more money if we stop at Normach and sell it to the Red Wives of Dagon, who pay well for the wonders made by the deep folk." But another chimer, who was wise in the ways of prophecy, looked on the simulacrum with disquietude. "Was I not hired on to help you seek the best of fortunes? I say you should listen to your warrior then, and take this thing to Iam, for though manufactured by our enemies, there is something in it that will become sacred, or has been already." The merchant captain took pause then, and looked on the simulacrum of the Nechiman's wife, and, though he heeded always the advice of his seers, could do no more than think of the profits to be made at Normach. He thought mainly of the Red Wives' form of recompense, which was four-cornered and good wounded, a belly magic known nowhere else under the moons. His lust made him deny Iam his mother. He gave order to change course for Normach. Before the caravan could get under way again, the chimeric warrior who had counseled a passage to the capital threw his money to the merchant captain and said, "I will pay you thus for the simulacrum and warn you. War is coming with the shaggy men of the north, and I will not have my mother Iam at uneven odds with one enemy while tending to another." "Nerevar," the merchant captain said, "this is not enough. I am triune in my own way, but I follow the road of my body and demand more." Then Vivec could not remain silent any more, and said into Nerevar's head these words: "You can hear the words, so run away. Come, Hortator, unfold into a clear unknown. Stay quiet until you've slept in the yesterday, and say no elegies for the melting stone." So Nerevar slew the merchant captain and took the caravan for his own. The ending of the words is Alm Savi. Sermon 6. You have discovered the sixth sermon of Vivec, which was hidden in the words that came next to the Hortator. There is an eon within itself that when unraveled becomes the first sentence of the world. Mephala and Azura are the twin gates of tradition, and Boethia is the secret flame. The sun shall be eaten by lions, which cannot be found yet in Veloth. 6 are the vests and garments worn by the suppositions of men. Proceed only with the simplest terms, for all others are enemies and will confuse you. 6 are the formulas to heaven by violence, one that you have learned by studying these words. The Father is a machine and the mouth of a machine. His only mystery is an invitation to elaborate further. The Mother is active and clawed like a nixhound, yet she is the holiest of those that reclaim their days. The Son is myself, Vec, and I am unto 3, 6, 9, and the rest that come after, glorious and sympathetic, without borders, utmost in the perfections of this world and the others, sword and symbol, pale like gold. There is a fourth kind of philosophy that uses nothing but disbelief. For by the sword I mean the sensible, for by the word I mean the dead. I am Vec, your protector, and the protector of Red Mountain until the end of days, which are numbered 3,333. Below me is the savage, who we needed to remove ourselves from the Altmer. Above me is a challenge, which bathes itself in fire and the essence of a god. Through me you are desired, unlike the prophets that have borne your name before. 6 are the walking ways, from enigma to enemy to teacher. Boethia and Azura are the principles of the universal plot, which is begetting, which is creation, and Mephala makes of it an art form. For by the sword I mean the first night, for by the word I mean the dead. There will be a splendor in your name when it is said to be true. 6 are the guardians of Veloth, 3 before, and they are born again, and they will test you until you have the proper tendencies of the hero. There is a world that is sleeping, and you must guard against it. For by the sword I mean the dual nature, for by the word I mean animal life, for by the sword I mean preceded by a sigh, for by the word I mean preceded by a wolf. The ending of the words is Alm Sevi. This has been a reading of the 36 Lessons of Vivec, Sermons 1 through 6, from the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind. This has been Double Negative. If you'd like this video, then please click the like button. If you didn't like it, then you can click the dislike button. If you would like to hear more reading of the Elder Scrolls, including the next part of this series, then please do not forget to subscribe. Thank you very much.